Hello, this is Komilla Sutton, and today I'm going to be talking about a very important principle in Vedic astrology called Marana Karaka Sthana. Marana means death-like, Karaka is significator, and Sthana is place. A planet is in Marana Karaka Sthana if it is placed in certain houses. So each planet has a house where it is dysfunctional and it doesn't work well. And this is an important principle of Vedic astrology where we need to understand these placements so that we can work with them, we can develop them. Important thing in this is Marana Karaka Sthana, MKS as it is called in shorthand, is there, and it doesn't mean that everything about that planet will go away, but it is definitely the karaka, the signification of the planet suffers. And these positions are for the sun in the 12th house, moon in the 8th house, Mars, Mercury in the 7th house, Jupiter in the 3rd house, Venus in the 6th house, Saturn in the Lagna or in Janama Nakshatra, that means where the moon is placed, and finally Rahu in the 9th house. Now, there are positions given, extra position given for Mercury in the 4th house and Ketu in the 4th house. Not everybody agrees on them, but generally the first positions that I gave, those are largely used for Marana Karaka Sthana. So as we get more advanced in Vedic astrology, we need to understand these principles, and the principles need to be understood without fear and anxiety, because that's how they are. Myself, I have 2 planets in Marana Karaka Sthana, and I dealt with them, and for years I didn't know they were there. Only when I started studying Vedic astrology I understood, and the signification I understood as well. Now Jataka Parijata gives an extra rider to this, and these exceptions are very important too, because sometimes we take things just as they are. So Jataka Parijata says if there is an aspect of a malefic on a Marana Karaka Sthana, and the planet that is in Marana Karaka Sthana is without power, so that means debilitated or in great enemy or enemy sign, that means then it becomes more dysfunctional. And of course, the karakas will suffer, but then during the dasha of the planet, you can know that there will be some effect of it. And this is just an introduction. You need a lot of advanced study with it. So I just want you to be aware that this exists, and so that you can work with it and understand it. And so the thing about a planet that is in a death-like state is that it is, very rigid in whatever it's doing. It's fixed, it's stationary, it has no energy. So in each person's chart, it also depends on how wise they are, how they're using the planets, and how much of understanding of the planet is. If it is in a Marana Sthana, that stubbornness of the planet is there. That means sometimes even though you can do a remedy, you think, I know better, I don't need to do the remedy for it. So what are the karakas for the planet? So sun is, of course, power. Sun is father as well. And sun is in Marana Karaka Sthana in the 12th house. I like to look at them from the Lagna. I think that is the position that you look at, not from, you can look at it from moon and sun, then every time you are getting a lot of extra information that is not necessary. So a sun is in Marana Sthana in the 12th house. You see very often very powerful people have sun in the 12th house. Certainly in the West, many leaders have sun. Bill Clinton, president of USA, he had sun in the 12th house. We have Tony Blair, very successful Prime Minister of UK, Sun in the 12th house. I think you see many powerful people having Sun in the 12th house. I think it is important to understand that when you get power, you realize how much lack of power there is, because the power itself makes you understand that you're not really powerful. Other people see you as powerful, but you are not powerful yourself. So Sun being in Marana Sthana, don't feel that instantly this person will not be successful or powerful, but there's some attitude with power. And of course, if the Sun Dasha comes, then that power is diminished and difficult to deal with. Now, as far as Moon is concerned, Moon gets the Marana Karaka Sthana in the 8th house. Now, 8th house is also a natural quality of natural debilitation sign for the moon. So if you take Scorpio, if you take Aries as the first house, the 8th house is the house of Scorpio. And moon in the 8th house gives a troubled mind, difficult position. And moon being in Marana Karaka Sthana is very troubled and can give difficult relationship with mother. It can also give a difficult relationship with happiness, Sukha Karaka, that is the Karaka for the moon. Although you do need to also look at how moon's lord is placed and what are the malefic aspects on the moon. So moon in the 8th house is naturally a difficult position. And 8th house also deals with past life karma that we have to deal with just now. And having moon in the 8th house is very important to do meditation, mantra, puja, chanting, because that will help you to deal with the 8th house energy of the moon as well and calm you down as well. Now, Mars and Mercury both are in Marana Sthana in the 7th house. Mars is 7th house alone. Mercury has an extra house. I'll talk about it in a minute. So Mars in the 7th house, it's a Kuja Dosha position. It's in the house of relationships, can bring dispute, anger. But what you have to understand is that Mars is a Karaka for brothers. So, or siblings, more than just brothers and sisters. So Mars in Marana Karaka Sthana has a side effect which we are not so aware of, is to do with siblings and relationship with siblings. And that can suffer because Mars is in a Marana Sthana. Of course, we know the Kuja Dosha and the 7th house Mars effect. That's an extra issue. But remember always the name of Marana Karaka Sthana. Then we look at Mercury. Now, Mercury, 7th house Mercury, but also 4th house is another position given in the classics for Mercury being in Marana Sthana. Now, 7th house, of course, overthinking about relationships. Mercury is the Karaka for thinking. And what this is saying is that Mercury in the 7th house or the 4th house cannot be detached. Generally, Mercury is this scientific, intellectual thought. If it is in the 7th house, is overthinking relationship. If it's in the 4th house, overthinking happiness. Am I happy? Is my mother looking after me? Am I being cared for? So overthinking situations, the mind not being totally in balance, that is the 4th and the 7th house with Marana Sthana. Then we come to Jupiter. Jupiter is in Marana Sthana in the 3rd house. Now, what are the karakas for Jupiter? Karakas for Jupiter is Dhana Bhava, Putra Bhava, Dharma Bhava, Guru, wealth. So you see wealth, children, gurus, advisors, and husband as well. So Jupiter being in Marana Sthana in the 3rd house is way more complicated because it is affecting so many of the karakas. And one of the facts is that 3rd house is the house of initiative. And Guru is not supposed to be taking initiative. They're supposed to be very sublime and dharmic and spiritual. So Third house may make you quite active with doing things. Of course, fifth house, children, as a karaka for children. Second house, money. Ninth house, advisor. So I think that the main thing of Jupiter being in Marana Sana is that affects a lot of areas. So we have to be very conscious of doing the remedy for it, honoring our gurus, learning properly, caring about children. I don't think that third house Jupiter means you don't have children, but there can be some issue regarding relationship with them. And definitely with money as well, that you have to see whether financially, your attitude to finances, because Jupiter is Dhana Karaka for second house and 11th house, and elder brother. So there are a number of issues that Guru creates a problem. So you have to think about those aspects, your attitude towards them, what is the remedy you're doing. You must honor your gurus. You should work with the Jupiter energy, because if the Guru energy is good, the other things will resolve themselves. So as the Karaka for the ninth house, it is aspecting the ninth house by Graha Drishti. But it's important to understand that. Then Venus is Karaka for marriage. In the sixth house, 12th from the 7th, it's a natural, difficult position. It's obstacles. I have always found Venus in the sixth house very good for creativity. People can be very hardworking, can be creative, but it does cause obstacles in marriage. It's also Sukha Karaka, fourth house, cars, Karaka as well. You can look at other minor Karakas as well, but the main Karaka is marriage for Venus and wife. So a person having Venus in the sixth house is affected either in their relationship with their wife or in their marriage, mostly both. And for men, Venus in sixth house is more difficult. Of course, if Venus is in Virgo in the sixth house, then it's debilitated as well. So you have to make an extra effort. And men, to honor the women in their life, to honor their wife, to generally honor women is important. And then not to be super critical about your relationship and marriage. That would be another aspect that you're thinking about. Now, Saturn in the first house, that means it's on your lagna. It's on your face all the time. So, or in Janma Nakshatra. It's all the time you're dealing with Saturn, and Shani issues are not easy to deal with. Sometimes what I've noticed is I know somebody who has Saturn in Libra in the first house. So even though Saturn is Raja Yoga Karaka, Saturn has taken over their energy. So all the time, not thinking Libra-like, but more Shani, because Shani becomes very fixed in the energy in the Lagna. So it is important to see what the dignity is. But if you have Saturn in the first house, you are dealing with it day to day. So again, doing the remedy for Shani, doing some, karma yoga, giving back to society, working hard. Of course, there's no choice in that if you have Shani in the Lagna. But it can be sometimes very much as if you're carrying the weight of the world on your head. So that aspect is important to understand. Rahu in the ninth house, this is very difficult to have, because Rahu is giving his advice, whereas ninth house is the house of Guru. And people who have Rahu in the ninth house sometimes can take unusual advice, or they can have wrong type of advisors, or they are blocked towards taking good advice. So, sometimes it's a tendency to choose the wrong advisor. Sometimes wrong type of people come into your life who give you wrong advice on any subject. It's not just spiritual subject. It could be on health. It could be on emotional well-being. So Rahu in the ninth house, again, you need to understand it and work with it. Now, Ketu position is not given everywhere, but fourth house Ketu is considered by some to be in Marana Sthana. So that is something for you to check and work with it. Now, what to do with if you have Marana Sthana planets? The main thing is this, that you have to bring them back to life. So for that, the remedy is important. You need to understand the planet, the Karaka, and the timing of the Marana Karaka Sthana planet will be during their Dasha or Bhukti. So if it is activated, then expect that less than perfect results. Let's say if you're Taurus Lagna and Jupiter is exalted in your third house and it is aspected by Saturn, that means that you are having a malefic aspect, exalted Jupiter, and if you are in Jupiter Dasha as well, you'll think that there's a tendency to take wrong advice because Taurus Venus doesn't always think about Jupiter as its advisor. It's taking Shukracharya as its advisor. And so therefore that aspect is right now that you have to work with. Similarly with other planets, I remember when I had my Marana Karaka Sthana, I was not willing to deal with the issues that was represented by it. But later on in hindsight and when wisdom came with Jyotish and all the things, then I understood the mistakes I made and how that Marana Sthana affected me. So when the awareness is there of a Marana Karaka Sthana planet, then that should help you to deal with it, to work with it. So the step-by-step analysis for Marana Sthana is firstly to see whether you have anything from your ascendant. So any planet is in Marana Sthana. Then you can also look at Varga charts. Especially in Navamsha, if you have a planet, and especially, important planets, Jupiter, Venus in the Navamsha, but other planets as well, in the Shamsha chart, career chart, or other Varga charts, if you have planets in Marana Sthana, I find they have also an important effect and a subtle effect, not so obvious. Then finally, are you in the time of the Marana Karaka? So if your Dasha is on, Bhukti is on, so first you have it in the Rashi chart, in the second in the Varga charts, and third is the time on. And fourth most important thing is, according to the planet, you should be doing remedies for it. And general remedy for anything is karma yoga, giving back to society, donation, helping other people. That helps always. But you can look at specific remedies for planets. I shall do that in a separate recording at a different time about remedies. So thank you very much. All the best. Check out my website, komilla.com. Also the courses are starting, so check out that. It's a good time to study this year. Always good time to study because you get all the wisdom of Jyotish. All the best.